Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I'm Matt Connarton, and here's the Honorable Gary S. Hopper.
Matt! Holy mackerel!
I'm here.
Weird.
I'm here every week, Gary.
It's like, I know, I got brain damage, so it
yes.
shocks me every time. Today, we are honored to have the most honorable Pam Tucker,
Oh, thank you.
who is
just
one of my
honorable.
favorite state representatives. Has been, how many terms you been up?
This is my third term.
Third term.
Yes.
And, so anyway, Matt, just more importantly,
Yes.
you're probably asking yourself, how the heck did he get his shirt? It was crumbled up in my saddlebag on my motorcycle. How'd you get it that flat and ironed?
How did you?
Well, Matt, I have a secret technique.
Yeah.
What I do is I take my shirt, crumple it up, put it in the saddlebags, drive over here, and then I use the pipes to iron it.
Oh.
I take the shirt and I kind of roll it over the exhaust pipes and stuff like that, and the heat tends
Yes.
to iron and get rid of all the wrinkles.
Wow.
But the secret is, A, try not to burn your fingers, and B, you do it on the inside of the shirt, not the outside, because otherwise you end up with all the remnants from the bugs and the dirt and stuff on the
yeah,
outside.
That was the question. How do you get rid of the dirt?
Yeah, exactly. So that's how you do that.
So you're wearing bugs on the inside of your shirt is what you're telling us.
I'm not saying necessarily that I have bugs on the inside of my shirt.
Right. Well,
I'm
I would
saying
hope
you could.
Right, you could.
But
yes.
just the thing is as I've told the audience many times before, I'm a genius.
Yes. Yes.
And so
Just
when I
ask me.
have these epiphanies of my geniusness coming out, I like to share them so people can learn.
That's what it's all about, really.
That's what it's all about.
Learning.
Is trying to learn and teach
Sharing
people
sharing your knowledge.
my knowledge.
Yes. You
My
change the
hand
world
grenade.
with your knowledge, yes.
It's unbalanced. My hand grenade's unbalanced.
Oh, my.
Hey, so anyway, Pam, it gets a lot worse than that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Well, I
it's
just
looking
learned
bad.
something new, how to iron my shirt if I rode a bike to work.
Yes,
And it was
exactly.
crumpled up in a ball.
Actually, not. I made that up. I would never do that. That'd be ridiculous. I have to say that disclaimer because somebody's
Yeah.
going to try.
Someone might try, yeah.
I heard that guy say it on TV.
Don't try that at home.
Yeah, don't try that at all. So, what was the news today? Zimmerman.
The Zimmerman trial.
Zimmerman trial continues to plague us. He helped, I guess, some people get in a car accident, car flipped over or whatever, and he rescued them. And I don't know if it's a bunch of bunk or not, but apparently the people that he rescued are now afraid for their lives.
Why would that be?
Because
He saved these people.
right, I know, but that was one of the things on Facebook. I don't know how true it is. Seems insane.
Yeah.
Well, that's insane that you'd have to be afraid for your life. I mean, because you're remotely connected
Maybe they
to
misquoted
the
the guy, and he's afraid of his wife.
sky. Oh.
Maybe she was the one driving.
Yeah.
So now, he's afraid to
You're
let her
right.
drive.
It is getting worse rather quickly.
Oh.
So anyway, the medical marijuana is now legal in New Hampshire.
Yes, it is legal. Maggie Hassan, our governor, has signed it into law. I did not
Wait.
vote for it.
Wait. How come it took her this long to sign it into law? Usually it's like a couple weeks after.
Well, they got to read a lot of these things. It might have not got submitted to her because once it's put on her agenda, she has 5 days to sign it once it
Right.
lands on her table.
It's
But
5 days.
It might not have made it there until now. But it is law now. I said I didn't vote for it. My constituents didn't want me to legalize it, and that's who I respond to, is who my constituents are. And the other thing is,
Wait. Why specifically didn't you?
why I didn't vote for it? Because they didn't want me to. And there's the
No.
people who elect me.
I know. Why didn't? In other words, technically, why not?
They feel it's a lead in to legalizing all drugs, and I'm going to agree a little bit with them. I went out to Colorado about a year ago now for a conference, and I met with some of the reps out there
Yeah.
in Colorado. They have legalized marijuana, and one of the reps said to me, whether it's true or not, that could all be hearsay, said that you're going to find every male between the ages of 20 and 40 are going to have back pain from skiing and have to have medical marijuana. And he says it's a joke. Now, whether it's true or not,
I thought
remains to be
the
seen.
law that we considered in the House, and I don't know how it came back from the Senate, or maybe I'm thinking of the one from last term. It gets so confusing. But you had to have been seeing basically a specific doctor for a specific condition for about 5 years. It's not like in Florida or other states where you can just go into a a doctor that's probably pretty
say, I have
stoned
back
himself,
pain.
and you say, "Oh, my back hurts," and they give you a
like
script.
California.
Right.
Right, but it's going to lead to that eventually. It will expand. I bet you it will. As we go down, we say, "Oh, there's no problems," and then we'll expand it, like we have a tendency to do with all laws.
Yeah, that's true. It's always once you let the foot in the door, it gets worse and worse.
Yeah. Ever try to repeal a program?
No, you can't repeal anything.
You try to take away a government program and any government money?
Detroit.
Oh gosh, don't say Detroit. I'm from
Wait,
the Detroit area, but we can get into that.
Yeah. So no, Detroit. They were talking about how it's going bankrupt. I don't know if it's legally
it is-
bankrupt or it's
Yeah.
almost bankrupt.
It's unconstitutional to go bankrupt as of Friday, I think it was.
Oh, okay. But anyway, they are still paying somebody $40-something thousand a year to shoe horses.
How many horses are
They
in
don't
Detroit?
have any.
But they're still paying them.
But there's still somebody getting paid to shoe horses.
Therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
Can't get rid of a government
No.
program now, can
No,
you?
once you establish a program, what did Reagan say? That there's two things that are permanent in this world: taxes and government programs, or something.
Well, and death too, but
Death, yeah.
yeah, government programs can't back out of them. It's really hard.
No. Once you start it, that's it. You got to keep that going forever and ever and ever, because somebody's related to somebody is being paid by those programs.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's what you saw happen in Detroit. It's just over the years that more and more public programs and people on the public payroll, and the taxpayers couldn't keep up, and now look where they're at.
Yep.
$18 billion. There's no way they're going to be able to pay it back. They had to go bankrupt. And it's so sad because, that was a great city after the war. I mean, when the industry, all the car manufacturers are after the war and are all built up. And then in the 60s, before my time still, of course.
Right,
But,
of course.
it started to go down as you started to see more government bureaucracy, and it's a shell of what it used to be. And I go back. I've been back 4 times this year. My family lives just north of Detroit. And you fly into the airport, which is between Ann Arbor and Detroit, and you just drive up 94 and 75, and even from there, you can see the burnt-out buildings. The neighborhood is just decimated, and it's sad. And I know they tried. And I as much as I say, they did it to themselves. I actually do really feel for Detroit, and I wish that wouldn't have happened to them. But when you have the poverty rate like that, you have all of the businesses moving out, you don't have any type of income, and only government workers are being paid. There's no one else. How are you going to survive?
Is this the first time this has happened, where cities
No.
declared
No, but it's the largest
It's
one.
the biggest
one?
one.
The biggest
Yeah.
one, okay.
But it's saw that in Buffalo, New York. I went through to go to Niagara Falls. You go through Buffalo, New York, and I don't know what the situation is there, but you've got like all this energy right there. You've got this huge city, and it's junk. You go across the river to Canada, it's beautiful.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It's all nice. See, I don't go that way. I go right up.
Right.
go
Well, I
north
went
of
to Niagara
Buffalo.
Falls specifically, and it was just like, wow. I mean, you get one of the most beautiful things on the planet right there, and you can't make money at it.
No, at least not on the U.S. side. You can't, unfortunately.
No.
But it's on the U.S. side. It's a park too. It's not all built up commercial like
No,
it
I'm
is.
talking about like away from the park. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just.
Well, Buffalo was an industrial city too, and then when the industry, whatever it was, went away, there's just nothing left again. And they tried to revitalize the downtown area. I lived in Rochester. Geez, where haven't I lived at this point? But I had to call and accounts over in Buffalo, and there was just nothing there. You wouldn't even stay in Buffalo when you had to stay over. You'd stay out in the suburbs where everybody was at.
Right.
There's nothing there, and Detroit is the epitome of what happens. It's of urban decay and what's going to happen if we don't balance our books.
Right.
I really feel that way. You can't keep borrowing and spending and spending and spending and just keep going back and asking the taxpayers for more and more money.
Right.
There just isn't any money there, and that's what happens. They move away, and now what are they going to do? Where are they going to get the money?
And what does this have to do with medical marijuana?
Maybe they really they do have it in Michigan.
Oh, they do?
Yes, they do.
Oh, well, there you go.
I went there with a back problem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was going to tell you. I think it was my second term in the legislature. We had medical marijuana.
How long have you been in?
I got first elected in 2000,
Okay.
but I was also working full time at the time, so I didn't actually spend that much time in the legislature. That's why I was always on Fish and Game, because I had to try to balance all the time out. But anyway, my second term, I went up to the well when we were doing medical marijuana, and I said that as somebody who has glaucoma, I want to speak specifically to that. I can't talk to the other reasons for medical marijuana. This is, but marijuana to treat glaucoma. Glaucoma is a pressure in the eye caused by a lack of the liquid isn't able to exit because it gets clogged, and that's what glaucoma is. It puts pressure on the optic nerve, which kills the optic nerve. And marijuana can be used to control that pressure. The side effects, one of the side effects is basically you have to be stoned pretty much all the time. And there's other medication that my ophthalmologist could give me that doesn't have that side effect. It actually works better. But when I was at the well, the well is the place where everybody speaks in the New Hampshire House. 400 members around, and there's 2 wells where you go up with a microphone and speak before the 400-member house. And I was in the well, and I was speaking, and I said, but there is a distinct advantage to use. There is a distinct advantage to using marijuana to control glaucoma, and that is, if you do go blind, you won't care. So,
Did the house laugh?
yeah, well, no, it was funny because you know how the average age of the house,
It's a little bit older.
it's pretty older, and about half of them didn't get it. The other half was laughing hysterically, and I walked out, and the other representative from Ware, Neil Kirk, he's just walking past me, shaking his head. He goes, "I can't tell if you were for it or against it."
That happens a lot at the well.
Yeah. But you were saying before the show you don't like going up to the well when you're in the house. Why?
No, I'm not one of these people who likes to get up in front of a crowd. I don't feel the need to speak and talk all the time. As we know, there are people who feel that way in the house, and
You're not talking specifically about Steve Valancourt.
Oh no, I wouldn't ever speak to one individual. But you know, when Representative Valancourt gets up, he does have something
He
to
is
say.
a smart cookie.
He's extremely smart. He's always right on it. I don't necessarily agree with his opinion. But like he and many others, sometimes if you get up there, and I'm not picking on Steve by any stretch because I think he's an
No,
excellent
I brought
speaker.
that up just to antagonize things.
But sometimes when people get up to the well, they speak way too long. And some people will say, oh, I'm voting against that person just because they spoke for 22 minutes. There's a rule at the well that you're only, the 3-minute rule.
Oh, really?
But after 3 minutes, people stop listening to you
Right,
when you're up there because it does drone, unless it's something very, very scintillating, which that's rare. But I myself, I don't feel the need to ever get up there. And that's why you don't see me get up there unless I really feel passionate about the issue. And I think that's when people should be getting up there, not just because that you need to get up there. If you feel strongly about an issue and you feel that it needs to be said, get up there, and that's the only time I go up. So I've only been up there, maybe a dozen times this year?
No, I didn't actually see you get up very often, but you're also one of the chairs of the House Republican Alliance, so that would kind of put you in that position of needing to get up there more often than you might want to.
It would, but it also gives you an opportunity to develop other people who like to get up to the well and can speak well at the well, and help them and coach them to become better speakers and better advocates for our causes, whatever.
So,
it
you
might
know,
be.
in other words, pawn off your responsibility?
Yeah, well, I didn't say that.
Did I say
Delegate responsibility.
Delegate.
Right.
Delegating.
Delegate.
A good leader delegates.
Delegate, pawn off, potato, potato.
Right, exactly, exactly.
But it's a training experience. Look at it that way. That I am not a well hogger.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you get on Facebook on rock, paper, hand grenades?
Yes.
There was something I wanted to post that this fine young lady asked me to go to tomorrow night.
Oh, the event that we're having tomorrow up at the Radisson,
Correct.
Or here in Manchester. I keep thinking I'm over on the seacoast or
No,
down
you're not.
south. No, I know
No,
where I'm at now.
you're not.
I'm in Manchester. Well, tomorrow night.
You're not in Kansas anymore.
I'm not on the seacoast where it's always sunny, as I say. It's always sunny on the seacoast.
It is?
Not always.
Who says that? I've never heard that.
I do. This is how people call me up. They say, "How is it over there?" I go, "It's great. It's beautiful. Life is good." Well, the seacoast is. It's a great place to
It
live.
is.
But tomorrow night here in Manchester at the Radisson from 5 to 7, we have James O'Keefe coming. And I don't know if you know who James O'Keefe is. He is on the New York Times bestseller.
He is.
Yes, his book Breakthrough. And it's about exposing fraud in our government. Now, you'll remember James O'Keefe. He came to our state back at the presidential primary.
Go before
Oh,
that.
okay.
Go before that
Okay,
to Acorn.
I found it. If we can.
Can we post this up on the intranet
on the screen there?
screen? I don't
There
know.
we
You can't
go.
get the whole thing, but
Yeah.
see, this is technology we have
Oh,
today, Pam. It's unbelievable.
That's pretty good. You just missed a suggested donation of $50 on the bottom there.
Right.
That's
We
it.
missed that part, but other than that, thank you.
Do I have to say disclaimers too? because they're not up
No,
there?
I just moved it. Go back to it.
Oh, no, we're
Okay.
good with it. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. What disclaimers? What?
Because you're supposed to put disclaimers on any types of things. It's paid for by the House Republican Victory PAC. Carol McGuire is our chairman.
Okay.
Those would be the disclaimers we'd have to say for any type of advertising or promotions.
Oh, okay. Now,
But-
is that dinner?
No, it's appetizers, cash bar. I couldn't
Cash
pay.
bar.
I couldn't pay for your bar bill.
I drink soda.
Well, then maybe I could buy you a drink.
Yeah, exactly.
There's others though. I don't think I could pay for
Oh,
their
yeah,
bar
yeah,
bill too. But it's light appetizers. James will talk about his book Breakthrough. Some of the things
No,
he did.
let's go back. James O'Keefe is the same one who did the acorn.
He did Acorn, and here he's actually closer to home. He did something here in New Hampshire.
Okay, I know, but I'm trying to backtrack so people have an understanding who this guy is. I don't know if did James O'Keefe, was he one of the actors in the Sting against Acorn, or was he the one producing it?
I think he was one of the producers. I don't think he's been one of the actual guys for a couple years now. He talks about that.
Okay, but if people remember back, I don't know, probably about 2009 or 10, they had a couple go into Acorn. It was a young man and a woman.
I remember that. Yeah.
And the woman said she was trying to get help for, what was it, for housing or something like that? Through Acorn, to try to help them because they wanted to set up a house where she could actually have prostitution.
Yes.
And this other guy came in as kind of the pimp, and it was so ridiculous. But the people at Acorn were actually trying to help him or help her set this whole thing up. And so as soon as they did that, they did it really smart because they released it. Okay, the video of them stinging this Acorn place, I forget which city it was in, and they said, well, that's an isolated incident, and you can't judge all Acorn offices by that. And so then he released another one that was in a different city.
Yes.
And they said, yeah, but that's still an anomaly. Then they released another one. It was very well done because they didn't allow them to get the media basically to shut them down.
Right, to pigeonhole it, saying it's an isolated incident. No,
Yeah.
it wasn't. It was something that Acorn happened to do across the board, which was really unfortunate.
But, yeah, really unpleasant and ridiculous that they're using taxpayer money to advocate for prostitution.
Oh,
In
gosh.
fact, one of the stings was they said they were girls from overseas who were underage, and they still were helping them set up.
Yeah, even these young girls. I remember some of the video on that. Yeah, that's
So
sad.
that's who James O'Keefe is, and then he did the. Now you can go to
the
the
voter,
sting they did.
the voter fraud. It wasn't necessarily a sting, but more an expose on how easy voter fraud is here in New Hampshire. And it was during the presidential primary in 2012, back in January. And a couple people came in, part of his project, the Project Veritas, and they came in and they did it legit because they couldn't arrest these guys. They said the name of someone on the list. And the person says, oh, John Smith? And he says, yeah. And they ask, well, don't I need ID? And they did it all right. They never voted. The only thing they did is they did touch the ballot, but they gave it back. They says, I don't feel right doing this. And they did it like they did with the other project at a couple different locations. But unfortunately, that is the case in New Hampshire. The people who are bringing in the vote, registering the voters, they didn't do anything wrong. The moderators, they didn't do anything wrong. It's the way our laws are. Our laws are
Yeah,
set up
the
wrong.
laws are so lax that if you go in and ask for a ballot, doesn't matter who you are. You could be anybody as long as you happen to know somebody that hasn't voted yet and that is on that list. You can get a ballot.
Well, Dee Hogan's niece had that problem. She went in to vote, I think down in Nashua, and someone had already voted for her.
Oh, really?
In the last
That
election.
saves her time, though.
That's true. That's
You know,
official.
Yeah, that's really well.
You're not
maybe
really
you should
looking
have.
at it the right way, Pam.
Is that vote early and vote often? Is that
Yeah,
that?
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if I go and somebody's already voted for me, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Well, they should have called so I didn't waste the gas getting up to the voting place.
That would be the more considerate thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said, no, I voted for you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's a problem. The domicile issue, which we've tried to address, is a huge problem. And we just, WMER just did it, I don't want to call it an expose, but I guess it is. Martha Fuller Clark has 8 people registered domicile who voted in the last election. That just
In her
in her single family home. Yeah, I just read that today.
That's
And
just a coincidence, I'm sure.
I'm sure it's my kids call it a quinky dink.
A quinky dink,
Yeah,
see,
that they
quinky
just
dink.
happen to be that you don't know people's intentions if they're going to stay there or not. All 8 of these people,
Right.
with
Well, we have
probably
a
different
hard-
surnames.
We have a hard time on in some of the college towns, because you can have a college town where people they should vote in their domicile, which would be like if they're from Amherst, Massachusetts, that's where they're domiciled, and they should get an absentee ballot, but they don't. They'll do it, up in one of the college towns here, and you could totally trash a town doing that. If you had all those kids vote locally, they could vote huge tax increases, and people couldn't do anything about it. The way the voting registration is set up.
Exactly. That's the way our system is set up. And in other cases, wasn't it Joe Biden's daughter voted in the presidential or the last election here in New Hampshire too, because she was domiciled here. So we really do need to fix what the definition of domicile is. It can't be just a person's intention.
No.
And
no.
you can't blame anyone other than our laws.
Right.
We got to
well, we
change our
keep
laws.
trying to change the laws, and they keep
Trying to change
changing back and
Yeah.
fighting. And that's one of the things that happens when the Republicans take control. We do things like voter ID, and then the
Fix
Democrats fix things. Yeah, and then the Democrats take control, and they try to reverse it. And
Unfix things.
Unfix them. Back and forth. It's pretty ridiculous. We had Ed Nail on here. Was it last year or the year before?
Oh, I remember. Yeah, from the I think it was this year.
Was this?
It all
might have
blurs
been- yeah,
together.
blurs.
Taxpayers.
Last
Yeah,
year's,
taxpayers. He was
I'll be
talking
honest.
about the profound quantity of voter fraud and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yeah, he's big on that. And
And
there's
then we have an attorney general that won't. The only voter fraud that I know of that they actually tried to. I think there was one other one tried to prosecute was James O'Keefe.
and there
The
was
one that they weren't really doing anything. They were just showing how bad the system is. That's the only one they really went after. When they get all these other people that are, like.
there's
abusing
4,200
this.
ballots that came back as undeliverable, or we don't know if anyone ever really lived there.
Right.
That came back through the mail, and I don't know that they've touched those.
I think possibly maybe what is the penalty if somebody games the system right now? Do you know?
Oh, I imagine, isn't that a federal crime, voter fraud?
I would think so.
Oh, yeah. We'd have to look that one up, but I think it's federal.
Maybe we should try to tackle it that way. Maybe if people understood that they could, serve 6 months in
How are you
jail.
going to catch them?
I know, but right now, if right now, I'm not sure if the penalty is that they're going to, might have a $1,000 fine.
If they get caught.
If they get
Because
caught.
there's no mechanism to catch them.
Right.
There's no, and you pass a law, and we've
Okay.
had
What
this-
about okay? See, we're brainstorming here. This is brainstorming.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
we talk about
like-
Team
this.
building. It's a team
pass-
building exercise.
I lack.
Try to
the-
keep a straight face here.
Don't bother.
No, one of those things we talk about when we pass laws up at the State House is enforcement. The worst thing we can do up there is pass laws that we're not going to enforce.
Right.
Because all it does is say, we pass all these laws in the world. If no one's going to pay attention to them or enforce them, they're absolutely useless.
Right.
A great one is the helmet law, that your kid, if he's riding a bike, he has to have a helmet on.
Look at Manchester. You never see kids with helmets.
Who's
No.
who's enforcing it?
I have no idea there was a law about that.
Oh yeah, you
That
go
was,
to the, you go
well,
to the
that was in your tenure, right?
yeah, and a lot of crap's happened. I kind of blame it on me.
Do you?
Even though I vote against it, 'Cause
It's all your
if
fault.
you look at if you look at from 2000 to 2012, all the garbage that's been implemented in the past 12 years, coincidentally, it was the 12 years that I've been up there.
It is because of you. You figured this one out.
Now we know. We know the mastermind behind all of this.
Yes. Yes. I was kind of suspected, but I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah,
I just.
master, but they usually don't have mind after it. But anyway,
So what were you thinking?
but if you go to the suburbs, like where you have all these little kids who it's 90 degrees out, and they probably don't want to go out on their bike because they have to wear a helmet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, where you go in the city around here, there's no kids with helmets
No,
on.
and I live in a burb area too, and my kids, I try and get them to wear helmets because you try and promote safety.
Yeah.
But
You
it's
do?
well, yes, I do. But it's hard. Even my daughter with the motor scooter, it's hard to say
Yeah.
you have to put that on every single time because it's like, oh no, I'm just going to zip down to the neighbor's
Right,
house,
right.
and last thing I do is, oh, let me find that helmet, which is thrown back in the garage somewhere, and God knows where all the stuff is.
Yeah.
So it's one of those laws that's unenforceable. I don't see, the helmet police running around writing tickets to my 10-year-old.
I can't imagine if you had a police department spending time actually enforcing things like that. It'd be insane. But still, nonetheless, if
It's a feel-good law. It's one of those feel-good
Yeah.
Pretty
nanny-state legislation is what we
but
call
yes,
them.
but back to voter fraud. If the penalty for conviction of voter fraud is only like a $100 fine or something like that, there is no consequence.
Right.
But if the consequence was actual jail time and or maybe lose student loan privileges or something like that, or some way of tying that to the people that tend to do it.
Well, I'm sure if it's a federal offense, there's probably some pretty good penalties associated with. Should get David Bates on here. He knows election law inside and out on that one. But it's evidently right now, whatever the penalty is, it's not being enforced. And we can make it $10,000. But if we're not going to enforce it, it just
Yeah, no, I
doesn't
agree. I mean, we
matter.
have an attorney general's office that doesn't really like to enforce anything unless it's going to be, I don't know. That's why actually I think it was last term I had one of the reasons I had last term had a bill to try to get the attorney general position to become an elected one.
Other
Because
states do it.
As far as I'm concerned, our attorney general's office is absolutely pointless.
Other states elect their judges, too.
I thought you liked him.
I don't even know him. I mean, he's come to my committee, I think, on judiciary. And
Oh, I'm thinking of somebody else.
No.
Gardner, is that?
No,
that's
Secretary
SOS.
of State.
Oh.
that's Bill
Gardner
Gardner.
is wonderful.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's been around forever.
He's my mentor.
Who's the state attorney general?
It was Kelly Ayotte. Now it's somebody else that doesn't do anything.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
We had the guy. I posted this on the HRA Facebook site. You really need, if you can take the time to watch it, I really appreciate it if you did. We had Mike Gill
Yeah.
on a couple weeks ago
That
talking
was
about the whole
interesting.
FRM scam, and he's been raked over the coals because they're trying to use him as a scapegoat on FRM. But he said the Attorney General's office is up to their eyeballs in the deception.
And the whole, there's a bill to actually do some type of reparations.
Yeah, but no. He says that's bull too. He says no. It's a lot worse than that because of how all the other people that are involved in it, including the I think it was he said didn't he say John Lynch's lawyer was one who actually helped orchestrate the whole thing.
Oh, that's sad.
It's huge.
He talked about a lot of people.
He talked a lot, and the problem, and I really recommend people go watch that episode because, as far as I know, I sat in because I have a friend that was scammed by this whole thing, and so I sat in on a lot of the FRM hearings, and the pieces of the puzzle that I knew about that Mike Gill talked about, he was right on the money. So I can't vouch for everything he said. But of the pieces of the puzzle that I do know about, I found no inconsistencies on what he said versus what I know happened. So,
Yeah, so I guess the question is because there is a bill that's retained on this about, I want to say reparations.
yeah, but we shouldn't pay reparation. We should. I'm not. I don't. To
we
me,
should
that's
fix
it.
the system if
No,
there's a
we
problem.
should find out who's guilty and who's
Yeah.
sleeping with who, and have them drawn and quartered.
Well, I don't think we do that anymore.
We
No, we
could.
don't do that.
have to
Enforcement.
pass a
Does
bill.
that go back to enforcement of laws?
Drawn quartered is should be okay.
It should be televised. It should be more than
Televised.
okay. You should be able to watch it on TV.
I mean, it's really not cruel. I think it's cruel and it is unusual.
It is very cruel and very unusual.
yeah, which makes for good
We can
TV.
make- yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
All tongue in cheek.
No, I'm serious. I should be working in Hollywood.
I know.
What?
So Pam,
Yes, sir.
I had another question for you tonight. Why aren't you running for higher office? You're one of the rising stars in the Republican Party. You're very bright. You're educated. You have everything that's necessary for higher office. Are you considering doing anything like that?
Well, thank you for all of those compliments, first and foremost. That's very kind of you to say those things. Right now, I have young children. I won't say young
You
anymore.
can sell them.
I know, but my oldest one's so lazy, I won't get any money for her. She's 15 and doesn't do a thing except ask, "Can I drive the car?" Because she's learning. She's driver's ed now, so that's where we're at. So I have 15, a 13, and a 10-year-old. So I have kids. I want to raise my kids. They're kind of important that I raise the next
but
generation.
wouldn't they? How much better they would do if they were being raised in Washington D.C.?
Yeah, that's right. I could slap them into private school and not see them.
Yes,
I'm up at the house the whole time. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay,
Now
I think
you're
excuse me. I got to go sign up for higher office.
Right.
It's you know what it's. Other people have asked me about it, and at this point, I'm focused on the House of Representatives. We're starting to see the players line up on the state level.
Right.
Who's going to run for what offices, and I don't have a big interest in it right at this
Okay.
time. I really don't.
Okay. Well, just saying. So anyway, why did you get
involved in politics?
Why did you get involved in politics?
Oh,
you
no.
seem like a nice person.
How much time do you have?
We got a little
tons of
time. We got some time.
Yeah, we got time.
got time.
I've been involved in politics since I was 14 years old. And where I
How
grew
so?
up, how so? Well, in Michigan, you could stand out in front of the poll places. You had to stand like 100 yards back and hand out cool stuff like matchbooks with people's names on them, rulers, all kinds of nail files, you name it. And you do that to try and convince
Nail
people.
files.
Nail files, yes, I have an old one from my mom.
Nail
This is before my
files?
time. Yeah, it said Sorokin. He was a Democrat senator. In fact, I think he was one of the first state senators ever to be recalled by
Oh,
a
really?
state.
And
Yeah.
you were handing out stuff for him.
No, I wasn't, but my mom had one. That's why I remember nail files.
Okay.
Nail
Yeah,
files.
he got recalled by
I
Michigan.
never thought of that.
That was in the early '80s, I think. Anyhow,
If these weren't so expensive,
You'd hand those out?
I would hand out hand grenades.
yeah,
The hopper hand
The
grenade.
hopper
Yeah, the
hand grenades, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure people would love to have hand grenades.
that was a band. The hopper hand grenades.
The hopper hand grenades, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you should look 'em up.
So
It's going to
between
take
that,
a lot longer to get through this.
It's
I
going to.
know, right?
you just, I've got to talk about me.
Go ahead,
I know.
go ahead.
But other than that, and then I got involved. I went to college where it was a pretty conservative college, so it just reinforced my views and moved all around. I lived out in California, worked in politics out there. It just happens. I just got involved. Upstate New York, got involved in politics there. Even when I was-
Any specific issues that float your boat, or is it just generally an
Low
inclination?
taxes. Low taxes.
taxes.
Cannot stand tax. And when you live in California, even for the short term that I was there, 2.5 years, you see everywhere you go, there's a tax. There's a tax for
Yeah.
this, tax for everything was taxed. You just like, how can the state be bankrupt? You have so many taxes.
Right.
But it
Yeah.
was. That's why I got involved out there. And then when I moved up here to New Hampshire, the same thing. You saw what was happening in 2000 from the 2006 legislature. And the taxes, the 100 taxes and fees. Remember, we all
Yeah.
ran on that, and I got involved.
That was your first term?
2008 was.
Because of the 2006?
Yeah,
'cause
2000.
that was the... No. When did
2006
we have
is
the landslide? It was 2010.
2000. Right? Yeah, 2006 is when the Democrats took control of the House and they started passing tax increases.
Then 2008, they doubled down.
They doubled down and took even more and increased the budget
Oh, and then
again.
they did the bathroom bill.
And they did the bathroom bill in 2009 session, and I was in at that point. I was in the minority with you, and then in 2010 we had the landslide one way, and then 2012 the
Shifted back.
shifted back with the pendulum. So it just and that New Hampshire's unique in that way. You don't know, you can't predict what's going to happen.
Okay.
So I've been in the majority and the minority.
Oh, yeah.
it's
I've
been
been
interesting.
in the minority my whole time.
Not necessarily.
Pretty much. I was back in 2001, my first year. I went out there and I knew it was a Republican-controlled house. And I go, really?
You're asking for trouble.
Oh, it was wicked bad. 2000. We could not get. I mean, Matt here is closest to a commie that I have friends with. Mm-hmm. Nothing personal.
No, none taken.
No, okay. And he I think if I recall correctly, even you agree that a 14-year-old kid should get parents should be notified if the child's having an abortion
Absolutely.
or permission. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're under
And
your
it did not I think it was parental notification.
Yeah.
I don't think it was permission. It was parental notification.
Right.
In 2000
Notification, yeah.
Yeah.
did not pass a Republican-controlled House.
And that was the beginning of the end of a Republican control of the state New Hampshire, the New Hampshire House, because we didn't differentiate
So that's another
ourselves.
thing that's my fault.
It is. See,
Yeah,
you were
Gary.
part. You were part.
Jeez. You are just. Oh, I'll tell you. Well, I won't
That's it.
tell you.
If
I
you-
can't even find the words.
Well, that's the thing. If you can't differentiate between the different parties, and you hear that all the time, there's no difference between Republicans and Democrats. So I think you're seeing more and more now the differences between those who want to raise your taxes and those who don't want to. We can talk about what we did do as Republicans in this past session. When there wasn't a difference, you're right. There's no reason the Republicans should have stayed in office, because if they're voting just like Democrats, it doesn't really matter if there's a D or an R behind your name.
I think on social issues, the divide is less now, and
Yeah.
that's my impression.
But yeah, you know,
Nationally, I would agree with you. Not necessarily. Well,
I think here, because New Hampshire's unique in that way. When it comes to social issues, when you're
Right.
talking, like the gay marriage
Yeah.
and abortion and things like that, we are pretty socially moderate. Whether you
Yeah.
like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, we are
I don't
socially
agree with it.
moderate.
I don't like it.
Well, that's fine. The facts are the facts, and we are. Gay
don't
marriage
like-
is
I
not
don't-
going
I
to get
don't like
repealed
facts,
anytime
Pam.
soon. I know you don't. It's not, and so we live with what we have to.
You're hurting my feelings now.
Facts are
sorry.
stubborn things, as Bill O'Reilly likes to say.
Bill O'Reilly, we tweaked the other night on.
Oh, did you see that? When
It was
he tweeted?
awesome.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
wicked awesome.
He went off.
He's tweaked a lot. What did he tweak
No,
on?
he's just tweaking on the race baiters over the Zimmerman
Oh.
thing, and he's
Yes.
just saying, basically what he said, unless I'm wrong, which I've never been wrong before, but
This will be a new experience.
yeah, basically what he said, and something I've bloviated on this show about a zillion times, is the real crux to the problem is family. And if these race baiters would start concentrating on strengthening black families, we wouldn't have the situations we have. That's where the issue is, and they keep focusing on stupid stuff like Zimmerman. You know what I mean? Because that's how they make money. But if they actually focused on what counted,
Who's they though? What they?
Al
are you speaking
Sharpton, Jesse
of?
Jackson.
Oh yeah, no, that's what those guys do. I don't disagree with you.
But
Well, it keeps them in front of the camera and
That's
keeps,
about
keeps,
it.
keeps
Keeps
them relevant.
Relevant.
Exactly. Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
all. That's all that counts to him, which is pathetic.
Yeah, but at what price?
Right.
And that's the sad part. Because, in my opinion, every life is precious. I don't care where you're from, and just them to focus on. And then certainly the Trayvon Martin case is a travesty. It shouldn't have happened. Wrong place, wrong time. But how come we're not talking about all those kids in Chicago or
Right.
any big city? It's
Right.
wrong. I don't care where you're from.
No, I know.
And yet
and
we
it-
don't.
And like I've said on the show, if you really want to track down what really is going on in the inner city and other places like that, and it's not a black issue, it is absolutely a fatherlessness issue. If you really want to fix the problem, what you need to do is start reestablishing traditional families as the
No, I agree. That's where it
focus.
starts.
That's where it needs.
That was where the
that-
breakdown occurred, and that's
we
how
break
we got
down
into
you
this.
break down the family, you break down the children, you break down the children, you increase crime, you grow government. There's a direct correlation to the breakdown of the family and the increase in the breadth and scope of government. And that's where the issue is. And government can't fix anything. Government programs only enable, they do not fix anything.
Tell me a government program that's fixed a problem.
Potholes.
Potholes.
I don't know. There's one where I live in the
one,
apartment complex.
yeah.
I mean, there's a pretty nasty pothole. I'd like the government to fix it. Actually,
Yeah,
I
that's
just
it.
want,
Wait,
I
that's-
really just want the landlord to fix it. Actually,
Yeah, that's a complex.
Yeah, that's
a
your that's
yes,
private,
That's
so
a
yeah.
private.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
But if
that's
the government
private.
wants to come fix it, that's fine too. I just don't want to wrap my. I don't want to rip a tire off my car.
Well, think
to
about
the
what it's like on a
motor.
motorcycle, Matt.
Oh, jeez.
Quit being so
You
selfish.
might disappear.
Yeah, you just fall right in.
You realize how wrinkled my shirt would be if I...
Well, but you have a backup plan for that
Yeah,
afterward.
no, exactly.
You know, so.
Because I'm a genius, remember?
Yes.
But you still haven't told us how you really get it nice and unwrinkled, though.
I can't.
Oh, it's a top secret.
Top secret. But anyway, so where were we? Oh yeah, you were telling. So you started getting involved in politics when you were a young kid. You handed out fingernail files.
I handed out files
And matchbooks.
And matchbooks.
Encouraging people to smoke.
Yes.
All right. Back then, everyone smoked. It was,
Wow.
no, it was for
No,
the
no. Oh,
candles.
yeah. Does
Yankee
that-
candles
Oh,
becoming
okay.
big.
Does that make it all right? If everybody smoked, it's okay, Pam? I don't
What are
think
we?
so.
What are you smoking?
Medical marijuana.
He has glaucoma.
I have
I know he
glaucoma,
does.
Pam. That's not cool.
It's, I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
No, exactly. But anyway, so you
So I got,
So
I
you-
got
you-
involved,
you-
and then
you-
I finally ran
you
in
graduated
2008.
from trying to encourage people to smoke cigarettes to doing what?
Would you believe I actually did smoke cigarettes once?
I did too.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
stupid. Wicked
yeah, it was.
stupid
It was
habit.
young and stupid. We all did young and stupid things like that. I hope that was the worst of all my vices.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, where did we end off? 2008. I finally ran for office.
Yeah,
rather
but
than
this
just
space
that.
in between passing out cigarette stuff.
I just
and-
got involved across wherever I was. I just.
But it was
got
always
involved.
the same issue. This trying to reduce taxes
Just
and government
t-
interference.
Taxes is probably I just don't like taxes and regulation. I'm very fiscally conservative. I really am. That's the crux of it. And my husband's the same way. He says, I don't care what you do, just don't raise my taxes. That's all he really cares about.
She's a celebrity too.
I
really?
am not a celebrity.
Yes, you are. No, when we were I remember we made that trip to Canada.
Oh, the scary one? Like you're
scary
on the
one.
bus?
Yeah.
and-
On the
Scared
bus
on the
when we
bus.
couldn't get up the hill.
Oh, yeah. That sounds legitimately terrifying.
It was
It
pretty funny.
was. You had to
Yeah.
get to the back of the bus because the tires are so bald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was scary.
It was
Yeah.
pretty funny though.
Yeah, and then he couldn't turn on the street and could.
No, he's got
the city.
these bald tires. Smoke's filling up the back of the bus.
Wow.
That was fun though.
That was
It
wicked funny.
It was a fun trip for one
I
night.
felt bad for the ambassador or whatever he was because he's
yeah.
hired the cheapest damn bus service on the planet. I mean, for Christ's sake, going up with bald tires into northern New Hampshire.
Was it,
during the
What are you
winters.
thinking?
Was it the Fung Hua? Is that what it was called?
Oh, was that the New York to
Yeah,
Boston
yeah,
bus?
yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, while we're on the bus, we got Pam got on the trip, I should say, we got the news that our guest
yes.
was in the Wall Street Journal.
Yes,
Really?
yes, I was quoted in the Wall Street Journal, and my husband and I, we have a very good relationship. But he always thought because he's big in pharma,
Yeah.
and I don't even know his title. People are like, well, what does he do? I don't know, he does something in pharma. He always thought he would be in the Wall Street Journal before me.
Oh.
I beat him.
Oh, it was,
Wow.
I was so
awesome.
excited.
It was awesome.
Yes, that was fun.
Why were you quoted in it? What was
Right
it?
to work.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
She's the one who. Remember, I told you they used to
beat you over the head.
verbally abuse me and
Yes.
harass me.
Yes.
In the State
Take
House,
you in dark rooms
dark
and
rooms and
yeah.
beat, and she's.
I was the
she's-
one doing that.
She
No
was
kidding.
the one beating me.
Wow.
It was awesome.
Well, you liked
Yeah.
But he still didn't change his vote. So I guess I didn't do a good enough job.
it?
Oh,
Wow.
I didn't know that was what that was for. I wouldn't have brought it up. But anyway, so I was like, what the heck was
You were up in Canada on the trip. is what-
Montrebec? No, that was the
Yes.
only reason I brought up Montrebec because of that. Because you're
Making the Wall
you're
Street Journal.
making the Wall Street Journal. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I've written letters since, but I just can't seem to get them published. No,
No,
no. I made it into the Union Leader today.
you did?
Yeah, I did. My op-ed, I'm supporting Kelly Ayotte about immigration reform. It's not an issue that Republicans or conservatives are really big on. In fact, I'm probably going to have my head handed to me by a couple of my conservative friends. But we can't sit here and talk about it, and we can't say we're going to throw 11+ million people out the door.
I'm with you.
It's impossible to throw that many people out.
Well, I will tell you something that I don't think my Republican colleagues actually consider when they're looking at this entire issue. The Democrats in like any issue, if you watch it on TV, they'll try to simplify it to a 15-second soundbite as to why people do or don't do things, and that never really is the case. Every decision you make, if you've got half a brain, is typically far more layered than that. And one of the layers that people focus on is the Democrats believe that they're going to get this huge voting block. Okay?
They already have them.
They already have them.
The fact of the matter is, if you look at the voting habits of Hispanics, when they first move to the country, they typically do vote Democrat. But they are fundamentally Catholic and morally conservative,
Yeah.
and change to Republican pretty quickly after that.
Well, I don't look at it on a political aspect of it, and that's one of the reasons Republicans are against it, because, oh, you're just letting 11 million Democratic voters in. Well, first off, they're already here. Secondly,
Right.
you got to look at it pragmatically. It's the right thing to do, that we have to do.
Yeah.
We have to address this issue. We have to address the H-1B issues of letting people, high qualified people, into this country. We can continue to talk about it, which we've done for, since 1986
Yeah,
when
decades
Reagan.
now, yeah.
Yeah, we can sit there and we can throw out all of these thoughts and rhetoric, or we can actually do something.
Yeah. I completely
yeah.
agree with you.
I don't think the bill's perfect. I know it's
Pam-
getting modified as it's in the
Pam-
House, but
If Matt's agreeing with you might want to reconsider.
we got to do something here rather than just talk. It's not solving itself. You know, the current policy is 0%
Pam.
illegal immigration.
Pam.
That's the current policy. Is that
Pam.
working? Unenforceable laws. Back to the whole unenforceable law.
Exactly, yes.
We got to do something about
There's
it.
not much more we can do other than talk on the talk show, Pam.
Yeah.
We could.
Well, we could, like,
could.
if there were an illegal immigrant here, we could kick him out.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we could.
Yes. Did you check? Did you make sure everyone has green cards that's working here?
I don't know. you
Where's
know,
yours? Where's
That's
yours,
a good
Gary?
point. That's why I'm not working, Pam. I didn't have a green card.
You have one? I'm not working either. Well, I do for $100 a year, like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We should have to have a green card to become state rep.
You think so?
Or what?
No, we should have our heads examined to become state rep some days.
Well, it does help if you're a little bit criminally insane.
Criminally insane.
You
Well, insane.
You got to have a good sense of humor, and you got to be able to take things when you're up there. You got to have thick skin.
Gary takes lasagna.
Yes.
Don't you?
That's what I want to do. I'm going to do this one of these days. Maybe you can help me. When I'm in my suit and tie, which I hate doing. I hate being in the suit. I'm going to be on the
But you
front.
look so dapper.
Oh, wicked. So I want to be on the front steps with a cardboard sign that says, "We'll vote for food."
Should I bring you a big lasagna and we can
Yeah,
get it on tape?
exactly.
There you go.
And get a picture of it.
Yeah.
Then you see him there gobbling it down.
See, that's what she didn't try. She tried abuse to try to get me
Yeah.
to vote for right to work.
All I needed was lasagna.
Yeah.
That's it. Just a big
Cannolis.
cannolis.
Cannolis. I
Is there any
love
particular place I
That's
need
the way to a man's heart, is
Right.
through his stomach.
Cannolis.
Or to his vote.
or to his
Yes.
vote?
Is through his
Yes.
stomach, yes.
Exactly.
Okay, now I know
She didn't
next
try
time.
cannolis.
That's right.
And that was one tactic I didn't use.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
Okay. Next time.
Now you know.
No whipping you with the wet noodle. I'll just go get some cannolis.
Correct. Exactly. It's a lot easier and tastier too. Because the wet noodles, they lose their
You don't need a safe word for cannolis.
what?
Yes.
Nothing.
You don't need a safe word for cannolis.
Anyway.
Speaking of safe words, we want to talk about New York mayor race.
Right.
Where are we?
No, I don't want to go down that far. I can't believe the guy's actually running.
Well, with his
OMG.
last name. We have a call. Should we grab this
Oh,
call?
yes.
Hi, welcome to Rock,
Save
Paper,
me,
Hand Grenades.
save
Who's
me.
on the line?
Dave.
Dave?
Yeah.
Dave?
What's up,
I
Dave?
just wanted to compliment your guest on the outstanding editorial in today's paper.
Oh.
Oh,
wow.
thank you very much.
Very nice.
I
I didn't
appreciate
know we
that.
had. I didn't know we had anybody audience that read or could read.
Scary, huh?
Yeah.
And Joe Foster's the AG, by the way.
Oh,
Joe
okay.
Foster. Okay.
That is all.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
Dave.
you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Well, that was nice.
And informative.
Informative. Yes.
And you just insulted all of your your viewers.
Oh yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
No.
Phew, I take that back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to take that back. Yeah.
You should have a press conference and
I
apologize.
should have a press conference. Everybody has press. I never have a press conference. That's probably my problem.
You're missing out.
Yeah.
You're missing out.
But there might be more that come out in the future, too.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Put the disclaimer on them.
Yes, I might have a press conference to recant on a previous press conference. That would be fun. You just have keep like going back and forth,
Yes.
competing press conferences.
Yes.
I apologize for my earlier remarks that I apologized for.
Yes, exactly.
You guys must watch the show Veep, because that's on there.
Yes, I did see the
What is
first
it?
season and I loved
my
it.
gosh,
Yes.
What
that's
is
the
it?
funniest show.
I-
It's just a really funny show on HBO about the vice president who's inept and incompetent, and how she always sticks her foot in her mouth, and her staff was just a bunch of goofballs. But it's kind of fun when you're in politics.
Yeah, you know Julia Louis-Dreyfus from Seinfeld? Did you ever
Yes,
watch Seinfeld?
yes,
it's,
yes.
It's her. She plays the Veep.
Oh no,
It's really good. Yeah.
I
Yes.
really don't watch a lot of TV.
I don't either, but
I don't either. It's
Veep
funny.
is
I don't.
awesome,
It's
though.
one of those
Yeah.
few shows I do watch.
Yeah.
It sounds like it'd be fun. She was always pretty funny on
Yeah.
Seinfeld. Anyway.
Yes, and with
Yeah.
the facial expressions, the body.
Oh, she's
my
perfect in that
gosh,
role.
she's
Yeah.
so great.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we only got like probably 2 or 3 minutes. So
Okay.
recap for us what we did accomplish, even though we were in the minority in the House, but we did have the majority in the Senate. So we have to make sure we get there.
So what we did do is we stopped gas tax. We stopped all the tax and fees increase, like your marriage tax increase that they wanted to do, your saltwater fishing license increases you want to do. We stopped those. That's what we did. The other thing we did is with the help of the Senate, because that was our blocking vote there, we made the government live within its means again. I mean, your budget only went from 10.2, 10.3 up to $10.7 billion. It wasn't a huge increase. It wasn't those leaps and bounds. And the increases that did occur were based upon a revenue stream increase, not new taxes and fees. And so what we've done is with the O'Brien budget, and this is a continuation of the O'Brien budget, is made the government start to live within its means rather than continue to go back to the taxpayers and take more of our money. That's what we did.
That's actually a lot too.
Yeah.
Because
It's hard to do.
It was tough because you had and then we also stopped the
Beer tax.
beer tax, the important stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we did good things. We got we let, if towns want, stay open to 2 a.m. for the bars, which is a good thing. That's
That
better
did
for
pass?
business. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't realize
it did
that.
pass. It was amended over in the Senate that it's an opt-in versus an opt-out program.
Okay.
But nevertheless, it still gives towns the option if they want their businesses to stay open and have more business and more revenue in their town. It's up to
Yeah,
them to
yeah.
decide
Right.
that.
'Cause I think you do need that. That's actually just a public safety issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you can meter out the drunks
Mm-hmm.
who are drinking and driving, leaving the bars, like one town will be 1 a.m., the other one's 2 a.m., then you can kind of, you're not having all the drunks out
Right.
at the same exact time.
You know,
That's
but
true.
47 other states have open or stay open past 1 a.m.
I was trying
We're
I was trying
1 to
to
3.
I was trying to agree with you.
Oh, well, thank
in
you,
my own
thank you.
pathetic
It's
kinda-
enabling. It's enabling legislation, which
Yes.
is what we want.
I thought
Local
we
control.
don't like government to enable people.
No, what?
Didn't we say that earlier?
Something like that.
Yeah, we did.
Something.
That's right.
Something
You
like
want,
that.
You want government to control the whole life from birth to death.
No, I was talking about like on poor people when they enable them not to have to work for a living
Well,
and things like that.
We want
So
them to take
enabling
care
is
of
not
themselves.
good.
Enabling for towns to take care of themselves and make their own decision, not the government mandating.
See, now you know why she's like one of the heads of the HRA as opposed to me, who's
She's good with words.
she knows she's educated.
We gotta go.
Well, thank you for having
Pam
me.
Tucker, thank you
Pam.
very
This
much.
has been fun.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
That's all. We try to be as least informative as we can, but as long as people have fun, that's really all that counts.
Well, thank you.
Right.
Thanks for having me.
If we're going to be less informative, why did we invite her?
Oh, good point. We also like irony.
Oh, good. We'll see ya.
Bye, everybody.